Welcome to the Jeremy and Andy Talk Movies podcast in person.
In person.
Once
What
again,
a treat.
Always a joy. Don't have to worry about headphones. Don't worry about lags in the stream.
The lags are killing us.
The lags are terrible. Don't get me wrong. I'm thankful for technology. I'm thankful for the ability for us to keep doing the podcast even when I'm down in Tennessee and you're here in Illinois.
Right.
It's just better when we're here in person.
Just better.
And today, Andy, we're going to be talking about the new action movie, Crime 101, action drama, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And let's start with this, Andy. In a heist movie, what's your role?
Getaway driver, maybe. I don't think they want me in on the action.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not cool enough or tough enough or imposing enough to do that. So they're probably probably what they do is they probably send me off to like the diner afterwards or something to reserve a table.
There you go.
That's probably my best role.
Yeah, I'm probably should be like the money counter at the end.
Or they send me like on a drink, like, hey, go get some tacos and sodas while we're robbing this bank. And
I think if they're insistent that I actually be in on the robbery, I'm probably just the guy holding the stopwatch, calling out the time every once in a while.
Yeah.
90 seconds.
And it's really like the time actually doesn't mean anything, but they're like, we got to find something for this guy to do.
They're like, 90 seconds to what?
To
I'm
what?
like, I don't know.
90 seconds.
This is what they do in the movies.
Yeah.
I never really pieced together the...
You know what I would do, though? I would get a suit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have to wear a suit if you're going to commit armed robbery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Just a movie tribute, I'd probably wear an old president's mask just as a thank you to Point Break,
Anything to acknowledge Point Break. I'd also probably take up smoking just for the day.
There you go.
Because like those guys always just look cool. Like I'm just going by like Tarantino movies. Like
plus, then they're looking for a smoker. And your whole family would be like, he's never smoked a day in his life.
Not him. He's not a smoker. So that's my strategy.
Smart.
Yeah. I don't know that it's smart that we just gave our strategies away though on a podcast.
That's true. Especially one so well listened to.
I mean, with billions of listeners.
That's right. So let's talk about Crime 101.
Yeah.
Crime 101 is a movie that I think the fact that it came out in February had me going, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually kind of the dumping grounds for movies. And you look at the talent involved in this, and you're like, action, crime, drama. Like, wouldn't you think this would be a little more hyped? Maybe a big summer release if it was good. And yet, we talked about it. There have been hits the past several years around this time of year. So you're like, okay, maybe it's just counter programming. Maybe they do have confidence in this and they're just saying, let's put it out when it doesn't have a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Plus, I just want to start here. I'm a Hemsworth fan.
Me too.
We both are. Obviously, we both like him in the MCU, but we both loved him in Furiosa.
Thought he should have won an Oscar.
For sure. And even in other things, I liked him back in the day in the movie. Is it Rush that he's in the racing movie?
That's a really good movie.
In that movie. I've always felt like he's a guy who doesn't get credit for how good he actually is in movies.
The MCU is a blessing and a curse for these guys. I mean, because they get the recognition and the love of being in the MCU, but then people kind of forget that they're good in other stuff. Ruffalo, I mean, probably not to the extent Hemsworth,
right?
Because Ruffalo's done a lot of acclaimed stuff,
right.
But
and I think it's the MCU, and it's also just when you are as handsome as Hemsworth is, and I think this is something like Brad Pitt dealt with for a while. When you're that handsome, people assume like, well, he's just in the movies because he's that handsome, and they don't actually give credit to how good they actually are at the acting and being a presence on screen.
I know me and you and Hemsworth, man, just cursed with good looks.
I know people don't understand the burden that it can be.
I know Hemsworth, if you're listening, we feel your pain, brother.
We get it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's. I'll give a summary of this movie, which is a hard one to summarize. So once again, I just kept it real broad, real drawn out, and then we'll talk about our thoughts on the movie. And actually, this is one I had to use just actors' names for all because I was like, I literally don't remember a character's name, and even as I looked at IMDb, I was like,
okay,
yeah. So Chris Hemsworth plays a master thief who adheres to a strict code of conduct and a disciplined pattern of planning. As he works on his biggest score yet, countless others are drawn into his orbit, including veteran detective Mark Ruffalo, high-end luxury insurance agent Halle Berry, rival criminal Barry Keoghan, and love interest Monica Barbaro. Andy, was Crime 101 good?
I don't know, but I loved it. So here's the problem. I realized as much as I always talk about how I'm just a sucker for horror movies, and it's like, it doesn't even have to be good, and I like it. I'll give, a horror movie, a pat on the back. I'm kind of the same way with these crime movies where it's just like guy with a code driving around, just kind of the weight of being a criminal on his shoulders. The detective who's always down on his luck is chasing him. I love that stuff every time. So I think this was a good movie. I probably like it more than I should because I do think it has some flaws, but I was super into it.
Andy, I'm right there with you. I loved this movie.
Yeah.
I thought this movie was awesome. I honestly walked out, and as I said, just as I thought going in, like, I'm surprised this isn't more of a summary type movie. I walked out and said, man, did the studio for some reason not have confidence in this? Because this is really good.
Yeah. It's a ton of... It's weird to say that this is a fun movie because it's kind of a heavy movie.
Yeah.
But yet, I think just because of, all these good looking actors up on the screen and it's just stuff just works. I mean, it's a Heat ripoff. It's a lot of things, but tons of fun.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love this like general setup for a movie. Heat is a great one. One of my favorite movies is Hell or High Water, which again is you got your robbers who you're sympathizing with because you're following. You've got your detective who you actually like trying to track them down, and you almost like don't know what you're rooting for because you like both sides.
It just kind of works, and then you throw in the criminal who meets the girl and he doesn't want to let her into his world, and that's a direct Heat ripoff, and it just all worked in this movie, I thought. And thank goodness Barry Keoghan finally decided to play someone weird.
Yeah.
I'm really glad he really branched out to do that.
So what this movie was, and probably my answer to my own question about like why is this not like a big summer movie, is because as I noticed, your reaction at the beginning was like action movie, and you're kind of like, is it though? It's not actually very actiony.
It's not.
It is much more of a like character movie, and it's way smarter than I expected.
Yes.
I really went in and I thought this is going to be, I was like, this is going to be so generic. It's going to be a movie that could have been a straight to Netflix action movie. It had that feel to me, and Crime 101 felt like such a generic name. By the way, about that title, I don't really like feel bad for this because how would I know, not being from California? I had no idea that it had two meanings.
No idea.
Crime 101 obviously actually has more of the other meaning, I guess. I just thought, 101 is like what you give an introductory course, in college. So it's like Crime 101, the introduction, the introductory elements of crime. But it actually stood for the 101 highway, which because he only robs places close to this big highway so he can get on and get off really quickly. Clever name.
I appreciated it.
Yeah, I was like, actually, it makes it slightly less generic of a name when you understand that that's the reference that it's making. But yeah, it's a smarter movie than it needed to be, and I really appreciate that. Most of the characters pretty well avoid becoming generic stereotypes. Yeah. So many of them, like you said, the veteran cop who's kind of down on his luck.
We've seen it all.
Yeah, the smart criminal, just all the elements felt very familiar. I was watching the whole time and I was like, I felt like they're actually doing things for the most part that I completely understand and not going, they're just doing that because that's what this stereotype character is supposed to do. They're actually playing it the way that normal people would. And as we get into spoilers, I'm going to be happy to talk about a couple of examples.
I know, right? I'm trying to keep it vague because this is you don't want to give it all away.
Early, we want to just keep it broad for everybody.
Yeah. And I just got to say, too, I always love these movies. I always love this in movies. Like, I love when, this is not really spoilery, Hemsworth tells a character, like, hey, if you want to get in on this crime with me, just post a picture of a beach to Instagram. I'll find you. I always love that in movies. Like, I'll find you. Don't worry. Yeah. I love these guys that are like so cool in this huge city. They're like, don't worry, I'll figure out where you are.
Absolutely.
That stuff always works for me.
Yeah. So this movie, it reminded me of several things, not just those obvious, almost more 1-to-1 ratios. Your Heat, your Hell or High Water that are the same situation. What it reminded me of was last year's Black Bag.
Yes.
A movie that came out of kind of nowhere. And
where it's just...
And I think the problem with that one, it was released a similar time of year, is that probably the same demographic, like adults who like kind of smart, this sort of action-y, espionage-y, whatever, but it's not the full-blown version that general audiences flock to.
Yeah.
And I really liked Black Bag last year. I really liked this one this year.
This is why we were meant to be podcast partners. I was going to bring Black Bag up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
As opposed to, a more typical February just straight action movie, like, I don't know, let's just say Shelter, the new Jason Statham movie, which I did go see with my dad and brother because my dad loves action movies. And you know what? I'm not going to tell you Shelter was like just bad. It was just so generic. I was like, literally, I feel like ChatGPT like had to write it, and not even like premium ChatGPT. Yeah. It was like ChatGPT, just give me a generic Jason Statham action movie, and it just printed it out and they shot it.
Yeah.
I want to just talk about Hemsworth a little bit.
Yeah.
I love Hemsworth
I do
playing
too.
a socially insecure person, especially when you're watching going, dude is rich, dressed super nice, is supposed to be a genius level person, looks like Chris Hemsworth, and he can't hold eye contact with a girl. I love it.
You know what though? I do too. And I honestly shout out to Hemsworth for being willing to do that. Like, he has to be fully committed to that, because otherwise you're just hung up on how ridiculous it is. Like, oh, poor Chris Hemsworth is really struggling to get this girl. You know what I mean? And it's like he's got everything. But yeah, honestly, like, I don't want to be repetitive, but these guys sometimes don't get enough credit. You know, like, oh, it's Thor. No, it's Chris Hemsworth, and he's giving a really good performance.
Yeah.
And just those little things he does, like, he's not doing it so big that it's like, oh man, look at Hemsworth trying to act, like, you know, looking down awkwardly. Like, it's almost subtle type of stuff that he's doing really well in this movie.
Great eye work. As we referenced before, I can't remember the actor that said it, and I brought it up that in an interview, some actor said stage acting is like voice acting. You're vocalizing, you're projecting to the back of the room, and film acting is face acting, and he's doing a lot of face and just eye work. Just those, like I said, those easy little darts that are subtle, but like I'm gonna glance up to make eye contact for a second, but I can't hold it, and I dart back down. It sounds so simple, but it just makes the difference of, like, you feel like you're watching somebody. He's telling enough about his character in those moments.
Some great breathing work by Hemsworth in this movie. Like, I think in that beginning kind of heist, like, he finally gets in the car or something, and he, you know, he's doing a lot of like deep breathing to kind of calm himself down. And it's like, again, it doesn't sound like I'm talking about anything fun to watch up on screen, but it is, because Hemsworth's doing a really good job.
Yeah. Going back to all the characters feeling like believable characters, not just his character being kind of like insecure, you know, even around girls, like he shows him like he's a cool thief, but he's not like so steely in his nerves. Like, he's got to kind of pump himself up. He's got like anxiousness, and you know, after that first job, when he does get a gun pulled on him afterwards, he's like all shook up about that. Like, so he's not playing somebody who's just like, I can't be rattled, I'm so cool.
Right. Yeah. So right off the bat, that already, you know, my interest is already peaked, because I'm like, oh, I'm seeing something. I'm seeing the formula, but just with a little bit of a spin on it.
Yeah. I think we should go ahead and give the spoiler warning. There's probably more we could talk about without spoiling, but I just don't want to worry about it.
Yeah,
so
let's do it.
Give the spoiler warning, and we'll start getting further into the details of this. And plus, you know, people go see this. This is there's not a lot of great options out right now, unless you're trying to catch like some of these movies cycling back in for, you know, the Oscar nomination, like re-releases. Go see Crime 101. It's a fun movie.
Really, really go see it. Yeah.
Also, I'm just going to say, at some point in this podcast, I'm going to call this movie Life of Crime, because that's what I keep doing.
Yeah.
And I hadn't yet in this episode till this last time I said it. I felt it in my head, Life of Crime, and I just blocked it and got Crime 101 out. But it's going to happen at some point. Okay,
at least you know that.
Not that they're even like the similar movies, but just the name. I just keep wanting to say Life of Crime. So now that we are into spoilers, so he pulls off this first job, and things almost go wrong. And we get the sense of like he's not a thrill seeker for sure. Right. He's not this guy who's like, I just love the action of the crime. He's a guy this is what he knows how to do. He wants to make money, because we find out like he's from really poor, bad circumstances and had trauma. We don't ever get specifics, but just like
enough,
because he won't talk about it. He basically just says bad things happen when you don't have means, and so he's just trying to craft this entirely opposite life for himself.
Right,
and he doesn't even know exactly how to craft it. Like when he starts dating the Monica Barbero character, and she's pointing out like he's at this really nice beachfront place, and he's got like none of his own stuff, like no pictures of himself, you know, everything just comes stock with the place, because he doesn't really have like a personality to build out. Right. He's just like, I just want to be so far removed from all of that so I can feel safe. I think he does say that at one point, like just enough to feel safe.
And I like how he tells her, like, I don't remember the exact phrasing, but he's like, I just have a number I want to get to.
Yeah.
Like he's almost doing it so he can leave it behind.
Yeah.
Like he's doing all this robbing and stuff so he can get to whatever he feels like is his safety net, and then leave it behind, which again, formula, but just with a little bit of creativity and just a little bit of new ideas attached to it.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember what I was going for that. Oh, that him being shook up at the beginning. And it leads to him meeting with his sort of, I guess, handler, the guy who
sets up these jobs
when he gets
for him.
the diamonds. Yeah, he brings them to this guy because this guy moves the diamonds for him, and it's played by Nick Nolte. Great, opportunity for Nick Nolte to just sit in a chair for 3 scenes in a movie.
I think that's about all he can do these days.
And sort of raspily talk through his lines and have you go, maybe we need captions. I'm not entirely sure.
Holy cow. God bless Nick Nolte for still trying to act, but it sounds like he has just concrete and glass shards in his throat.
It sure
and
does.
I was like, what? Nick Nolte, huh? Yeah. I will say, though, like, all kidding aside, like, it's always cool to see Nolte up on screen. Like, he is a presence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we kind of immediately, in the first time they interact, we get a rift because apparently Hemsworth's been putting together this job, but he decides, like, it's
I don't
not
have a
worth
good feeling about it.
Yeah,
like,
just don't have a good feeling. Like,
what's he even say? Like, we don't even know how many people are in there. It's in the middle of the day. Like, he's just like, it's too risky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, there you go again. Like, you disrespect a smart character who says, like, hey, if it's like, why am I going to risk it for this? Like the consequences of failing one of these jobs is life in prison.
Yeah.
So, so he's going to leave it. And then that sets into motion. Nick Nolte's got other criminals, I guess, that he works with.
Right.
And that's where he brings in Barry Keoghan. He's like, I got a job for you since this guy won't do it. He's already put everything together. He knows Barry Keoghan's crazy enough to do whatever. He is a guy who's like, the thrill of the crime is what he's all about, but he's just not as smart at all.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to be super discreet and sneaky by constantly being on a loud motorcycle and wearing a motorcycle helmet. So where people can't see my face, but I'm very clear, like, I'm so easy to point out.
And bright colors in that motorcycle outfit.
It's a tad silly at points how like bad maybe it's supposed to be that way where like there's one point where he's just following Hemsworth and Hemsworth just walks out onto his deck and looks over and Keoghan's just kind of standing in the dark like smoking,
yeah.
And he just gets on his motorcycle and drives off. You're like, maybe you're not very good at that.
Right. So then that's sort of our first. I don't think I expected early in the movie for this to be the type of movie where everything kind of collides together at the end.
Right.
I thought it was just gonna be kind of like several plot lines are going on, but those sort of like have their own moments.
Right.
But it really did end up being
it's about like these 3 or 4 separate stories that all converge together.
So I didn't realize in the beginning when that sets off, like that setting him versus Keoghan on that's part of the climax that's going to come together. And then, we've got to have the cop played by Mark Ruffalo who's on his case. And at first, it's impossible to write a movie with no kind of generic character development. So like at first, him and his partner, their banter is kind of like, yes, I've seen this 1,000 times.
Right.
Even, details like Ruffalo has one scene with his wife played by Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Well, it's a really weird use of Jennifer Jason Leigh.
She just shows up for like a minute.
Yeah.
Telling him that they're going to, she's leaving him.
It's really strange.
And and you're like, okay, like again, I've seen that before. Now my thought was he's going to be spiraling and he's going to end up doing he's going to be so like, I've got nothing but obsessing about this case and I'll, push the boundaries because my life's out of control. I don't know. I just expected it to go that route.
Sure.
And it doesn't. It's just more of like, it actually sort of kicks his butt into gear.
Yeah. Starts going to yoga.
I got to get my stuff together. So that was like a kind of neat twist. Yeah, he does yoga. Exactly.
Yeah. But it is funny. And I don't mean this as a criticism, but just the cliches, where it's like, he's got this case kind of figured out and everything he's saying makes a lot of sense, but everyone's like, whatever your name is, be quiet. It's like maybe someone should listen to him because everything he's saying actually makes sense. But like his superior's like, you're a washed up has been.
I think they could have you're right. The one thing I'll say is, because it doesn't get expressly said like this, but everything he's saying is right, but none of it is necessarily going to help them lead to the catch. And basically his boss is like, dude, like we're, some of the things you're even bringing up are saying like we got other cases wrong, and we're just like, just let us say we got things right and move on until you can actually give us information that is true enough to lead to the catch. Like you're just kind of talking about how lost and clueless we are, which is not helpful to anybody. And again, if the boss would just said that, but instead he's got to be the stick in the mud, like.
And I don't mean it as a criticism. It works, but that is very familiar stuff. Yeah. But Ruffalo's so good that he can rise above that kind of stuff.
Yeah. For sure. Monica Barbero playing the love
Yeah.
interest. I thought it was a nice little meet cute where she rear ends his car at a
I thought
light,
that was great.
and
I love how he, like, of course, he is off the grid, so he just wants to give her a bunch of cash.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but she doesn't take it. 'Cause
Yeah.
she's like, I'm gonna do this the right way, and you could just, I'm honestly that scene at first, I was like, I don't know where this is going. And
I
it's
know.
going to like. Is he about to like have a panic moment of like, I can't have this happen? Is he going to be taking off? Is he, I don't know, like,
I know.
kidnap
And then
her? I don't know.
a really nice touch, a cop car drives by, and Hemsworth just kind of like glances over his shoulder at it, and he does such a good job. Like, you can feel his panic, but he's trying to play it cool, and it's just really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's so bad at socially interacting. He's trying to flirt with her. So he's like, you have kids? And she's like, what? And he's like, you got a kid seat in the back. And she's like, no, like I said, boss's car.
Yeah.
Like,
And then he just like, I don't have kids either.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of stands there.
yeah.
Like, it's honestly, it's one of those scenes in a movie like this. It's done better than it needs to be, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's, two good actors, because I really like her too. She's put together a nice little resume the last few years.
Yeah. She, again, what I know her from is the Bob Dylan movie with Chalamet.
Yeah.
What is that one even called? I always forget the name of it.
A Complete Unknown.
Complete
I
Unknown.
always
That's why I
that.
forget the name.
I
'cause the
always
name
want to say
is
No
A
Direction
Complete-
Home,
yeah.
but that's the Scorsese documentary about Bob Dylan.
Yeah. So Complete Unknown. I will say, I thought she was great in both movies. It's way easier to see why she's into Chris Hemsworth than into Chalamet dressed as Bob Dylan. In
It
the other
absolutely
movie.
is. And she's in our beloved Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, she is. Yeah. I forgot about
So that's where I'm going Top Gun Maverick, Complete Unknown, and now this. I'm like, cool. I like her.
that.
Yeah.
She's a
She's
good
good.
presence on screen.
She's solid. Yeah.
So yeah, like the scenes with those two are sweet.
They are good. And this is where I think, I'm talking about the cliches and stuff, but there's also a lot of times where this movie rises above. And I think it's really good writing because Hemsworth has all these red flags. Like, he won't really ever give her a straight answer. And so you always have to balance that where, like, you don't want to turn against her character and be like, well, she's an idiot because she should flee. But it's like, it's also like, it says a lot about Hemsworth too and his charm, where it's like, she should probably be a little nervous about this guy who really won't give her a straight answer about anything. But it's Hemsworth, so I can see why she's sticking around.
Yeah, and she even has the one comment, doesn't she, about like how almost every other guy she interacts with is like an aspiring actor or something like that. So like him just being kind of a
because she's
normal
like a
guy,
publicist or something like that. Yeah.
and like generally knows how to like conduct himself and behave and all of that. Like, is very
All their stuff
appealing.
works really well together.
I love the good banter they have. Like when she shows up at the date, she's like, "Sorry, I'm late. I rear-ended a guy," and he's like,
she's like, I got another hot date out of it.
he goes, he probably stopped too quickly, right? Because
That's what she accused
said,
him
even though he
of.
was already like completely
It's
stopped.
really good stuff.
Yeah,
and he's trying to take her to this fancy restaurant, and maybe he normally does go there or doesn't. You never really know whether Hemsworth's lying or not, but then he's just like, I don't know. And then I love their conversation about like, I don't even know what this dish is. And he's like, I think it's veal and all this stuff. It's all really charming.
Yeah, it is good. So yeah, like there wasn't, surprisingly for a movie with this many strands going on, a lot of times in a movie like this, I'm like, I could have done without that one strand. Like get rid of the love interest, it wasn't as interesting, or get rid of the rival criminal because it was, or get rid of the cop. I liked every strand, and surprisingly, even though maybe it's the weakest, I even liked the Halle Berry strand, which seems like the most kind of
I wanted to
out
talk
of
about
place
this
a little bit. But I ended up liking it.
I think I did too. But I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is Halle Berry a good actor? Or does it just not matter?
So
because
hard
she's so
to tell.
striking up on screen.
I think I go back and forth where I'm like, is it sort of like what I was talking about with like Chris Hemsworth and Brad Pitt, where it's so hard to give her credit because you're like, you're just beautiful and that's why you get these parts, and I'm not giving her enough credit? Or is that actually the case?
Like you just ignore. I'm not saying she's bad. That's not my argument. But there was a couple line deliveries where I was like, I don't think that was the best delivery in the world.
Yeah. I think she's generally pretty good, especially if she's in a part that works for her. And I
she
think
has to find the right part.
I think this part was a good one because what it was supposed to be. Like she's playing somebody who in her line of work, you need to be like very beautiful and present, because like you're really like selling like the image of this company, and so like that worked.
And it's a smart move on her part to lean into roles where like the age thing is a factor in the role.
Yeah.
I mean, they talk about her being 53 in this movie. She's 59 years old in real life.
I wondered, like after the movie, because I saw this one also with my dad and brother, I was like, I wonder if that was her actual age.
She's
or
59.
If she's even older. That's crazy.
Yeah, she looks crazy good for her age.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I think the thing that really redeemed that whole storyline for me was, so expectedly, Hemsworth kind of like tries to charm her and then reveals like, hey, I'm actually, what I do is, in his fancy way of explaining, I steal things.
Yeah.
And then she kind of says, so you're a thief. Like,
Yeah.
but,
That stuff was good. I liked
it was all
that.
good. I like that. At first, she just like cuts it off and she gets out of there. She doesn't like even give him the time. Like, that is what a person would do. And he just gives her the line about like,
Post a picture on Instagram of the beach, and
she goes to work, and lucky for Hemsworth, it's timing out where like she's, and there's a little cliche, but like you get the motivation of why does she turn? Because her workplace is basically like belittling her and kind of screwing her over.
And
like,
they've got basically the replacement for
always pushing her off on the promotion that she was guaranteed or promised, whatever. And so then she's like, gets mad and is like, fine, I'll do it, and post a picture. And then the first like sign of like trouble, she realizes
I'm in over my
head, and goes right to the cop that she knows.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you could call it like character inconsistency. I think it's all like, this is how a real person probably would vacillate.
Yeah, because we're not all these like ultra cool, like I'm cool enough to pull off this crime. Most of us would panic when Barry Keoghan, threatens us with a gun to our face.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you. To me, that's definitely the weakest link of the movie is all that Halle Berry stuff. I would honestly even argue it could have been cut and maybe shorten the movie a little bit, but I'm venturing into like nitpicking because I love this movie. I just thought that was the weakest part. And I thought when she goes and kind of tells off her boss, I kind of thought that was just a little bit below the rest of the material in this movie.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Just small criticisms I have. But she is definitely a presence up on the screen. And it's cool to see her interact with like Hemsworth and Ruffalo separately in these movies, because like her and Ruffalo have good chemistry, her and Hemsworth have good chemistry together. So I'm not saying like, oh, Halle Berry ruined this movie. I like Halle Berry. I just think of everything that worked the least for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I say like everything kind of comes together at the end. The one strand that doesn't really fit into the actual climactic part is the love interest one. That one kind of, it never really resolves. Like it kind of leaves on a bad note, and then he basically reaches out at the end with a like, hey, I really want to try.
I feel like they want you to think she's going to give it a shot.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to play that, because you don't want to be too unrealistic and say like, well, everything will be happily ever after, because that's a stretch, but you also don't want to leave it just like dower, like, so
he just left her. And
so I think him just saying like that gesture where he sends a picture of him as a kid, because she was had talked several times about like,
it was a nice moment.
It's kind of like there's growth at least.
And their final scene together, when she finally had enough, that's well done too, because it's like I was saying, like he's clearly got some red flags, and she finally does get to the point where she's like, I'm not doing this. I know you're not telling me something. So then that's good writing too, because then we don't feel like she's a moron. So that's well done too. And she's, like I said, she's up for the challenge to play opposite Hemsworth in this movie. So
yeah,
it's all good stuff.
And then, so the actual like climactic thing is he does this job. So he kind of kidnaps this guy who's supposed to be like the escort to this guy carrying diamonds, because he gets all the information for what's happening with this from Halle Berry, who's insured the transfer of these diamonds to this wedding of this rich guy's, I don't know. Yeah,
it's not confusing, but
if you watch it all, like you can kind of track. But to explain it quickly, it's
hard.
Like I said, because it all builds to it.
Right.
So, and then once Halle Berry flips and goes to the cop, goes to Mark Ruffalo, he also interjects into it. So he takes the place of the diamond guy. So there's Hemsworth picks up who he thinks is the diamond guy, but he's picked up the cop to take the cop to the job who he's going to rob eventually. And it's great stuff. It's
really good stuff.
The example I always think of now of this sort of scene is the Spider-Man Homecoming scene with Peter Parker in the back of the car and Michael Keaton in the front. And
Like,
figuring each other
we're going
out.
to figure this all out without saying a word.
Exactly. And they don't quite.
They don't get.
Hemsworth doesn't figure out that
No.
that Ruffalo's a cop, but we know that Ruffalo knows, and Hemsworth's never seen Ruffalo, so he doesn't know.
He wouldn't. He
and
wouldn't
so
know.
As an audience, you're just watching like, what's going to happen?
gonna happen?
Ruffalo, when is he going to play his hand of like, I know when I'm on to you, and all of this, and
It's really fun to watch because it's again one of those things like you don't know what's going to happen.
Yep. So they are arriving at this hotel where they're supposed to go up to this room. Yeah. While that's happening, Barry Keoghan is infiltrating it as dressed as a waiter and trying to get there. And so you're just seeing you're
seeing it all
the
come
pieces
together.
come together, and they end up in this room. It really is, again, talking just sort of the smallness of the actual action. It really is a pretty small, limited, not a lot happens climax. It's just that everything converges in that moment.
Right.
Is what makes it feel like a big climactic thing. So they end up in this hotel room. Hemsworth pulls his gun to rob this rich guy and his young fiance, who Halle Berry mistook for his daughter.
That was a funny
that
scene
was
too.
a funny scene. And then Ruffalo pulls out his gun, exposes, I'm a cop, I'm on to you, I know everything about you, says his real name.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And then you're kind of like, what's going to happen here?
And Ruffalo uses again, he's like, I know you don't hurt people.
Right.
Like, it's good stuff.
Yeah. And then Keoghan shows up into the room. And that's the sort of element of chaos you needed, because I don't know how you resolve that. Like, I'm just thinking, like, if I were the writer of this movie, if I wrote everything up to this point, I'd be pretty happy with it. But I'd be like, I don't know how to resolve
how to get out of
between
this.
these two characters. You needed that spark of chaos to enter the situation.
You do. And that is, again, it's smart writing because there's enough Keoghan throughout the movie. And you're just like, dude, this dude's a maniac. Like, they do a good job of showing that, like you said, he's in it for the adrenaline and stuff. And he's crazy.
And he's a loose cannon.
Yeah. So it's like, uh-oh. What's going to happen? Because they've established this guy will do anything. So it's good stuff.
Yeah. And it culminates with exactly that. Like, he comes in and he ends up shooting the rich guy to like make a point. Like,
Yes.
I'll shoot anyone. Turns out it doesn't kill the rich guy, even though at first as a viewer, I think, you think he did. But then he's, you're sort of like escalating, yelling, you put your gun down, no, I put and it builds up, and we get the classic like gunshot, and you don't see where it came from at first.
Yeah.
And then I think we see Keoghan on the ground, and then Hemsworth holding his gun, and it once again very shook.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah,
like,
it's not what he wanted to do.
And he kind of like nervously, panically like explains to Ruffalo like he was going to shoot you.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to, but I had to.
More
like,
good stuff from Hemsworth.
Yeah. And again, something that we've kind of seen before, but once again, I just didn't care. It kind of made sense in the moment. Is Ruffalo's like, yeah, this dude just saved my life. I've kind of got him still, but I like this guy kind of, and I can let him go, and I can just pin it on this guy.
Yep. And they've done a good job of like Ruffalo kind of being screwed over in the police department and stuff. So it's like, it's kind of an abrupt turn from Ruffalo, but kind of not. Like, they've built up to it enough.
And then we also find out after the fact that Ruffalo's not being squeaky clean in this scene, because he himself ends up stealing the diamonds
that no one even knows.
And I totally didn't catch what was happening when he goes to the evidence locker in the police station. He wants to see the evidence from the original crime. And the original crime that Hemsworth pulls off, the guy was carrying fake diamonds. Hemsworth knew about it and got the real diamonds, but the fake diamonds still ended up in evidence.
Yes.
So he goes and grabs the fake diamonds. And at the end, he's putting things back into the safe for the rich people once Hemsworth takes off, Keoghan's dead. And it shows him sliding some things, and it really zooms in on these little envelopes. And I'm like, why is it zooming in? And it finally dawned on me, because those are the ones from the evidence locker. He put fake diamonds back in there.
That's good stuff.
And he at least brings some of the diamonds to Halle Berry's character.
Yeah.
It's unclear. Did he split them with her? Did he bring them all to her?
And we're kind of led to believe that maybe they're going to pursue a little bit of a relationship, because he's like, should I come back to yoga? And she's like, yeah, I think you should.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all fun. It's like I said, it's funny to say fun because this isn't supposed to be like, this isn't Ocean's 11.
Right.
But it's got a little bit of those flares to it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to just be around these characters.
Yeah. And it's kind of fun to see them all get what they want. And then Hemsworth sends Halle Berry a text like, hey, show this to the cop. And then
Yeah.
Hemsworth's left him this really cool car that's been throughout the movie. So it's like it all kind of
because they had a conversation riding in the car about they both grew up not with a lot of money, and they both
how about Steve McQueen and cool cars.
So,
It's a nice little moment. And then Ruffalo does such a good job. Like Ruffalo can be heavy and serious, but he really does like the I'm a nerd at heart well, and he's just driving that car with this big old smile on his face, and
yeah,
you're like, oh man, it's kind of working out pretty well for everybody.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was a cool ending.
Yeah. So this movie doing pretty well critically.
Yeah.
87% from the critics.
I love it.
Very high for a February action movie.
Absolutely.
Which once again speaks to the fact that it's not a traditional action movie, and probably why it was hidden in February is because it is smarter than your typical blockbuster movie that people go to. Audience is still liking it though, 84%.
Yeah.
Love to see that.
Me too.
I don't, again, not that I expect this to be a movie that come next year's Oscars we're hearing about, but I just like Hemsworth continuing to build up credibility to where maybe one day, maybe it's the next project.
I hope so.
Where he does something, because I still think there's a reluctance with people who have certain reputations. Probably hurt Dwayne Johnson for the Smashing Machine, that probably a lot of critics were still like, it's Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
It's The Rock.
And then the other big thing too is like these guys are like Furiosa bombed. I mean, that really pains me to say that because it was one of my favorite movies in a long time, but it just didn't do well. The Smashing Machine tanked miserably. So I mean, it's really unfortunate when these guys, when you're proud of these guys for giving really good performances, but the box office isn't doing them any favors. It's really unfortunate.
That's true. So let's speaking of box office, this movie had, I saw a $90 million budget.
That's what I saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah.
It's not, it didn't crack.
I mean, they definitely
100 million, so that's
definitely
always
coughed
a
out money
victory.
for the stars. So I mean, you can kind of see where the money goes.
Yeah. I wonder where they filmed. I wonder if they actually filmed in LA or not.
That would be my assumption, but I don't know LA.
Because there's a lot of and movies are really, I mean, they've been figuring out for years how to film in other locations and make it look like certain locations.
Trick you. Then they just get like the standard shot of like the aerial view
you
of
get
the
establishing
city.
shot.
Yeah,
and
the establishing
then we're at
shot.
any old building.
Yeah.
But what can you tell me about how it's actually performing?
So they're expecting. So what is it? Is it President's Day or something? Is Monday or so? They're looking at things over the 4 days, Friday through Monday. This is expected to make about 17.5 to 18 million over the 4 days. So, that's not the big blockbuster start they want. To try to put a positive spin on it, it is a well-received movie.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll kind of hang around a little bit. And I mean, and I know not everyone's like us, but like I would totally go watch this movie again.
I would too.
Look for little things I didn't notice the first time, or just to soak in some of the good acting again. So it's not going to turn out to be some kind of blockbuster.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do hope it can kind of just keep moving along, because I want, like, I was so glad you brought up the Black Bag. And if it needs to be in February and March every year, so be it. I want them to keep dropping these intelligent movies. And we said this when we were talking about the Black Bag. That is a movie for adults.
Yes.
And I want movies like that to come out that give me a little bit of action and aren't afraid to be fun, but are more than that. And I love these. I love the idea of the movies that are made for adults, for someone my age. I'm a big fan. So I want these movies to succeed. And I want Hemsworth to keep trying stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's crazy to me that Hemsworth's not a box office draw.
I don't get it.
We talk about how rare that actually is these days. Why such a big deal is made about Chalamet is that he is one of our last, and at his age, it's really impressive.
It is really impressive.
That's actually a box office draw. Like when his name's attached, it makes money. I can't believe that Hemsworth is not one of those guys. I look at him like, what is he missing?
I don't understand. He's funny. I don't see him a lot on social media or talk shows, but anytime I see clips of him, he's funny. He doesn't take himself too serious. He's not one of those people that I'm an actor. He always seems like he's having a good time. He's likable. He's got a wife and kids. He's a family guy. You never hear stories about him being a jerk on set. I don't see, there's no check marks against him.
Right.
He's got the built-in fan base from the MCU. I don't get it. I just do not get it.
I mean, he does Thor: Love and Thunder, and it doesn't work, and it's a frustrating disappointment. And his willingness to be like, yeah, I got too caught up in what I was doing there with the improv and trying to be funny, and like I lost my way and it didn't work. And his just like owning it,
Yes,
makes it so much more endearing.
yes. He's so likable.
Yeah.
He, we've already talked about it. He obviously a nice looking dude.
Yeah.
He looks great up on screen. He's giving good performances. Like he's doing everything right.
It makes me wonder. This is going to sound weird. Take a guy like Jacob Elordi. We talked a little bit about like how ladies love him.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Wuthering Heights, and it's going to make a ton of money for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a good movie, but girls are going crazy over Jacob Elordi and Wuthering Heights. They loved Frankenstein because Jacob Elordi was playing the Frankenstein monster. They just love him. And I go like, do ladies not feel the same way about Hemsworth? Is this a weird like guy thing where I look at it and go like, if I could look like any dude,
I would pick Hemsworth.
I would make him my avatar. I want to be. I want to look like Chris Hemsworth. But do ladies not feel the same way about Hemsworth? Do they not go like, I need to go watch him on screen?
Chime in, ladies, please. If there's any females
I need to
listening,
understand why.
I know.
Yeah, what's missing?
To me, this guy should be an A+ lister.
Yeah.
And he, like I said, he's given the performances to back it up. He's amazing in Furiosa. He's so good in this movie. Like he is nailing it. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. I want movies like this to succeed because I want them to keep getting made.
Absolutely. Oh man. Andy, do we know what comes out next week?
I know what comes out next week. Psycho Killer.
Psycho Killer.
A movie about a psycho killer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
From the guy who wrote Seven.
Okay.
So I am excited about that. And it's got the girl from My Beloved Barbarian in it.
Okay.
And I think Krager maybe is like an executive producer or something.
Yeah.
I think there's some ties.
I know
there.
they like say
or like the
from
team.
like the people that
yeah.
brought you.
So
weapons.
maybe not Krager. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But that's my kind of movie.
Yeah.
It looks weird. It's far out there, serial killer movie. So I'm definitely going to give that a shot.
All right. I was thinking about it. This is a random aside, but because I mentioned in our Oscar nominee episode that there's just not enough like good movies written with female leads.
Mm-hmm.
And really what I should have clarified is part of the problem is most of the good female leads are in horror movies.
Yeah.
And the Oscars just aren't ever going to recognize them.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I'm sitting there going like, yeah, that's why you end up with, Song Sung Blue having a leading actress nominee, which I don't mean to disparage.
I shouldn't disparage it either. I haven't seen it.
We haven't seen it, and we both like, what's her name that got that nomination, Kate Hudson. We just talked about how the flip side is Hugh Jackman would never get considered because the movie itself. But yeah, as I was, just letting people know, up ahead, we were going to have our own awards thing. And I don't have a hard time coming up with 5 great female performances from last year. They're just from movies that the Oscars would never recognize.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So
I haven't heard any early buzz on this movie and or anything. But to me, it's like, okay, there's enough elements there that I would probably like to at least check it out. And then the following week is Scream 7.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Love the Scream franchise.
Me too.
It's a big one for our podcast, I think. We've both been with that franchise from, pretty much the beginning.
Saw the first one in the theater.
Yeah. I caught up to it a little late. So the only one I saw in theaters was, I've seen every one in theaters starting at 3.
Yeah.
But it was one of those friend owned the first one. It was like, you got to watch this not long after it come out. And then I think I caught the second one just as it was coming to like Blockbuster. Another thing important to both of our
absolutely. Spent a lot of time in Blockbuster.
So yeah, Scream, excited about it.
I'm excited about that too. This is a little improv on my part. We should shout out real quick that James Van Der Beek died this week.
Yeah.
And that made me just think that we did Varsity Blues.
We did.
Just want to give him a quick shout out because we both decided like that was actually a really good performance.
Yeah.
Like full disclosure, we were kind of thinking we were going to watch it and be like, uh-oh, like Van Der Beek was really bad in that movie. He's not. He was really good in that movie. So I was really bummed to hear about him passing this week.
Yeah, that was sad. So yeah, rest in peace.
Absolutely. And you did a great job in Varsity Blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So thank you everyone for
go see this
joining
movie.
us. Go see Crime 101.
It's good.
You won't be disappointed.
It's not going to insult your intelligence. You're going to enjoy it.
That's right. And then join us next week.
Yeah.